Hey Luke, I want to thank you for taking time out to do the Art of Fearlessly Doing Business interview. Tell everybody who you are and what your business is.
First of all, I want to say I am absolutely honored to be a part of this, and I'm really excited to be here today. So, my name is Luke Kayyem, and I am a master lifestyle coach. Master meaning I've been in the game for 20 plus years. Lifestyle meaning I'm teaching people how to live a higher quality of life each and every single day in everything that they do, from their business to their body to the balance and to the future that they want to have.
And so, what was the first big fear? Well, actually, the first question is I skipped to the next one. What was the reason why you started your business? Why did you start?
So, I had been in the fitness business for 20 years. And over the course of the last, say, 5 or 6 years, I realized that I was doing so much more than just coaching people on how to lose weight or to eat better. That there was a deeper impact that I could have on them. And whether I was working with a kid who didn't have a father or working with a mom who had just lost her husband, there was more to it than the sets and the reps. So as I started to develop what I wanted to do, what I wanted my own future to look like, what I wanted my true purpose to be in this world, I realized that I could impact people on a greater level. So I created a brand called the Fittest Tribe Alive. The Fittest Tribe Alive really is a combination of life experiences that help people live that higher quality of life through fitness and through nutrition, through impactful and empowerment conversations. And then on top of it all, we create these amazing experiences around the world, whether it be going to the Grand Canyon or climbing to Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa or surfing in Hawaii or having yoga retreats all around our country and our world. These experiences allow people to not only prepare and get ready for the event on a physical, mental, spiritual level, but also we get to go and climb to the top of these mountains together and do summits and epic journeys and all these different things that we get to do together as a tribe.
So you and I have shared something in common. I've been a personal trainer for 32 years too. So I just want to congratulate you because you've taken something that those of us who are trainers know naturally happens in that client trainer relationship. You really become a part of the family and you get to experience all the bigs. And one of the folks that I worked with in Vermont did a walking tour before she had her baby. And just this past Christmas, I got pictures of her children who are now 10 and 13 years old. So you really do become a part of the family and part of that bigger vision. So congratulations on finding a way to put all those things together in a more purposeful way that's very directed. So I'm really proud of you for that.
Thank you. I tell this story. My mom was a psychotherapist, and she was a single mother, only child. She was 43 when she had me. So by the time she even started to communicate with me on a level that I understood, she was 50 years old.
Yeah.
So I learned how to have conversations with people on a much deeper level, right? The superficial, shallow conversations that most people have with every day, whether it's your kids or your wife or your business. I was so far ahead of that when somebody came into my office or my studio and they said, I want to lose 10 pounds. An hour and a half later, we found out what was really the deep root of that.
It's not about the 10 pounds at all, is it? It never is. It's always about fill in the blank for everybody. So, your mom did a great job raising you. And both of us have older parents, so I think we share that in common too, that we're older souls because of it.
Yeah.
So what was the first big fear you had to overcome to get started?
I had to give up a 6-figure income.
Right, because you tell people a little bit about SickFit a little bit.
Yeah, so I began back in 1999 in what we call a Globo gym. And within a few years, I'd become the fitness director. I moved up the fitness ladder really quick. But there really wasn't anything deeper than that. Working for this big company, you got incoming people because they charge so little for the membership, so you got to see a lot of volume. Mm-hmm. And I started working with senior citizens right away, which really gave me a greater idea of helping people and understanding scalability. So fast forward a couple years, I opened up the studio. It's 175 square feet. It's inside of a chiropractor's office, and the chiro is writing scripts for me to help service. So now I'm learning the back end of not only the business and insurance, but I'm also learning how to service people on rehabilitation. And I never went to school for it, but I just learned it, so I kind of put it in my pocket for later. Fast forward a couple more years, and we opened up CrossFit Scottsdale, the first CrossFit gym in Scottsdale, one of the first in Arizona, and one of the first in the country. And that was great for a while, and then we realized that we wanted to create our own brand. So we acquired the global lifestyle brand called SickFit. So we brought the SickFit brand in, and we started opening up gyms. And again, I started to get away from the personal touch, which is what I felt that I was here to do in the first place, which is what my mom would have been most proud of, was how can I impact people and give them more than what they have in their life. So we scaled it back down. And then realizing, hey, I don't even want to be in the fitness business anymore. Yeah, I can write you a program that you can follow for 30 or 60 or 90 days, and I can take you to the grocery store. That's great. We'll put that in my pocket for later. But it's not what I want my purpose in life to be. So we decided to sell the gym, sell the brand, and work from a Mac or from my phone anywhere in the world. And I wasn't too scared in the beginning. And then the first month came. And I went from having all this income to having zero income.
Right.
And I had a little bit because, you know, I transitioned some folks from the brick and mortar business to the digital business, and most everybody was completely aligned in it. But it wasn't until I got back from Africa in December for one of our tribe experiences that I said, this is what I'm meant to do. And this is all fairly new. It's probably the first time I've talked about it on film, but we summited Mount Kilimanjaro and it almost didn't happen. I missed my flight. I was stuck on the tarmac. I spent an extra day in Los Angeles. They lost my baggage. I didn't have my gear. My computer broke. All these things happened.
We were watching that happen on Facebook.
Watching it
so that was
happen
awesome.
live.
Yeah.
So once I got there, I realized that I was meant to completely disconnect. And I use the term a lot, disconnect to reconnect. So I completely disconnected for that 7-day period. And I came back and I felt overwhelmingly positive as to what I had just gone through, the people and the lifestyle that I had seen in Africa, in this third world country, and the perspective that I gained coming back, on top of summiting a mountain at 19,341 feet. Within a week, I went on a juice cleanse. And of course, if you know anything about nutrition and health, when you cleanse your body, you start to see things much clearer than you did before. And my focal point became laser focus. And then I went to the Grand Canyon with my son in the snowiest, stormiest day of the year where people said, don't go, you'll die. And we survived. And then my best man at my wedding died. And all this happened in a matter of a few weeks. And he died on January 1st, and I had to give the eulogy at his service in front of 1,000 people and his daughter in the front row. And I realized this is what I'm meant to do. This is my purpose in life, is to give people more. More of me, more health, more fitness, more energy, more impact, more lifestyle, more. And once you start giving with everything you have in your heart and your soul and your mind and your brain and your body, once you give everything, you get everything back. And I didn't realize it at first, but after a few days and a few weeks now, we're sitting here February 1st, 2017, I feel it more than ever.
And that's one of the interesting things about your why is when you first start, you have kind of an idea, a shell of your why. But once you start actually digging into what you're doing, your why actually gets bigger, wider, deeper as you start completing tasks. So, one of the things I think is important for folks to remember is that you don't have to have it all figured out on day one. It's going to work itself out as you move along, right?
As long as you're consistent in your message, as long as your purpose is stronger than, what you're hoping to get out of it at the end, as long as you're not driven by money and exterior things, as long as you do what you do, regardless if you made a single dollar or not, because you're pushing people and you're challenging them to think differently than they do right now. Too often we walk around living like this, right? And nowadays it's like this. But when we completely put away our devices, and when we go outside and we walk or we hike, one of the big reasons why in the tribe we have these hikes all over the country is to get people outside, to get them disconnected from Wi-Fi, to get them speaking eye to eye, which is something that we teach our kids every single day. You look people in the eyes. You look through them so that you can have real conversations, so that you can be trusted, so that you can pay attention to what they're saying and not try to finish their sentences.
Right.
And the importance of that is truly so that you can be and live in this moment right here and right now and not think over here, not go back and think, God, I coulda, woulda, shoulda, but only moving forward. And when you do that and you feel the positivity that you can give somebody, the same way I'm looking at you, not at this camera, but the way I'm looking at you, shows that I'm here. I'm alive, you're alive, we're in tune, we're understanding of our purpose and what we want to do in life. And when all those things are sort of figured out, then nothing else matters. It will work out.
So you got the business started and you're kind of moving along. What was the first big bump that you hit that really made you go, ah, darn, and you had to kind of work through it? What was that first big bump?
So I've had two. One was not being able to use the technology that I have to do the job that I need to do. My MacBook Pro, the screen cracked on my way to Africa, and I was gone for 2 weeks, longest I've ever been gone away from my family. But I had this list of work that I needed to get done on 2 18-hour flights. I had banked on 35 hours of work that I was going to get to do between creating content, writing blogs, making links to get prepared to share with social networks so that I could then get these businesses that I had been creating. When I say businesses, there's multiple things. Whether we're working on our coaching one-on-one, or we're in a small group setting, or I'm doing what I call employee empowerment programs, which are very similar to corporate wellness. All these different links that I needed to create, and my screen broke 5 minutes into my flight to Africa. So I had to take it a step back.
Najla was reporting for you on Facebook, and I thought, oh my God, the poor guy.
Yeah, so I would
your
open it
luggage
up.
got stolen too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Everything happened, and that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with letting things go when I needed to. But it was big to disconnect from having a computer or having Wi-Fi, right? We didn't have Wi-Fi on the mountain for those 2 weeks. So that was a big piece because I planned on banking on, making some really productive use of the time on the airplane and the time away, so that when I came back, and I came back a few days before Christmas, I was able to unleash all these things I created. So all I had with me was my GoPro. And my GoPro, we talk about technology, the night before I left for the trip, a good friend of mine said, you need to go take a GoPro. And I said, nah, I don't want to take one. I've had bad luck with them in the past. He goes, no, you get the new one button on, one button off. It's great. $179, go get it. So I went and got it, Best Buy. And I'm back here, it's 11 o'clock at night, I'm packing, and I'm trying to put in the new micro card that goes in it. And I'm shoving it in, and I'm shoving it in, and I'm shoving it in. I finally shove it in. I break the GoPro. It's midnight, my flight leaves at 10 a.m., Best Buy's closed. I lose my mind, I'm screaming, I'm freaking out, and I realize that one of the things I'm really good at, like all entrepreneurs, is figuring things out. And if you get stuck on a one-way street, you find a way to go around and go about. So I decided that I was going to go to Walmart, open 24 hours, and go get a new GoPro.
In Africa?
No, here.
Oh, okay, here.
This is all before I left.
Oh, no, okay.
Go get the new GoPro, come back, get a new chip. I'm in another $250, and I have to watch a YouTube video to make sure I don't do it again, because that would be the worst thing. 'Cause I would not be the smartest human on the planet if I did that. And I got it to work. So I had my wife return the other one from Best Buy. So technology, as great as this is, it's a tool. And sometimes you have to go back to using the tools that got you here in the first place.
Right.
And maybe my kids don't understand that, but we have dedicated times to unplug and to disconnect. Because if we go back to that distraction piece, if I allow my phone or my computer or my camera or my GoPro to distract me from what I'm trying to do, sometimes I do it with my kids, and my son is really good at this. I'll ask him a question and I'll pull my camera out because I want to show people the relationship that we have and the conversations that we have, because they're real. They're not superficial, they're deep.
Right.
And I want to share that with people. He's like, please put the camera away.
Let's just have a moment
Enjoy
here, Dad.
this moment, yeah. So I've really learned to do that well. Even though I'm trying to create content and I'm trying to share my life and my world with my tribe and the people that I want to trust me and understand me, I know sometimes you just got to completely disconnect to reconnect.
Which is really important. So now you're moving along and you've kind of gotten through the worst of it. What's the big thing right now that's kind of got you, that concerns you and that keeps you up at night?
So doing everything myself has been something that most entrepreneurs do when they first start, right? And this was one of the reasons why I was so excited about going digital and getting rid of the brick and mortar, because I didn't have to pay a lease, and I didn't have to have equipment, I didn't have to have employees, at least in the startup phase. I could do so much of this on my own. I could do my own video, and then I could edit it, and then I could share it. Who needs people? Well, now fast forward, there's so many things that are happening. The business is starting to grow. I'm specifically working with men on a bigger level to empower them to live this ideal life, because so many men I see that are husbands and their fathers are struggling because they go to work before the kids are awake, and they're at work all day long, and they're in this corporate world, or they're in a job that they can't stand, and they come home, and their wife may or may not have dinner on the table, their kids are getting ready to go to bed. They're missing so much to life. And I'm not trying to get guys to go and do what I did, but I'm just trying to have them see that there's so much more to what most of us walk around living. So right now I'm working on that, and it's taking a lot of my time because I'm showcasing how I live my life, and I believe I'm living an ideal life, and I don't tell people that to brag, because I wasn't always for a lot of years. I'm 39 this year, and I would say for a good 30 to 32 years, I wasn't living the ideal life. I wasn't living the life that I had always wanted. And now, closer to 40 than I am 21, today's the greatest day of my life.
So delegating is what you're working on right now.
Yes, I'm working on delegating, and I've hired a few people to say, hey, look, I'm going to shoot all this video. I'm going to take all this content right here that I'm creating on a regular basis, because this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm great at. I'm great at capturing these true moments. There's no script here, right? This is from the heart. This is from the soul. This is what I do amazingly. In my mind, this is what I can do really good. But sometimes I need help distributing that content. So right now I'm hiring a couple people, part-time, short-time, offline, whatever you want to call it, that are going to help me be able to deliver this to more people.
I think that's one of the things that I hear. It's one of the things I do in my other part of my business, which is I'm a business executive. I execute projects, and it's amazing how we want to hang on to everything. But in order to get from point A to point Z, you got to give a couple of letters up. Nobody can do it all.
No.
You need help getting things done and delegating, especially once you get to a certain level and you have a certain amount on your task list, or at least get people to kind of help you to do the lifting as opposed to maybe totally handing it off. But if you can hand it off, that's really the best way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not quite there yet. This is year one.
Yeah.
And
You're working on it.
I'm very open and transparent with what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right? I want to travel the world in 4 years with my family. We want to pack up, whether we rent the house or we sell the house. We love Scottsdale. This is our home base. We don't ever plan on leaving here. My wife's lived in 39 homes. I've lived in 38 homes. My son and my daughter have lived in 2 and 3 homes. And the goal is to get them off to college in 5 or less homes, because my wife and I move so much. But before we do that, I don't care what it is we're doing in this world. I don't care what the 10-year goal is or what this first year goal is. In 4 years before our son and daughter go off to high school, we're going to travel the world for 1 year. So my decision-making filter, my process, starts up here with what I want, my why,
Right.
and ends down here with traveling the world. And if things do not align with what I want my life to look like and taking my family to travel the world for a year, then I can say no to it.
Well, that's the other thing too, is being able to say no. Because if it's not part of your deal, it's not part of your deal.
No.
So, what can you tell other people about being fearless? Because when we met about 8 years ago now, we've been through a couple transitions, and what I find really very cool is that you've been a client of mine, and so I've both when you owned Sick Fit and when you started the Fittest Tribe Alive, and so I've kind of watched this. I've been one of your delegated people that have been able, and friend, and we've gotten very close to the process. I've been able to watch you go through making the decision to leave Sick Fit, that whole process, which I love. You don't even mention that. It's awesome, and it was a process to sell a business and to find the right buyer and to transition to be a solopreneur and to get your websites up and going and make this big transition, and for Naj to go out and do what she's doing on her own with her own business.
Well, you've been very instrumental, let's just say that.
Yeah,
You've been monumental in this growth and in this phase. And the reason why I don't look back on those things is because, again,
you moved on.
I'm very transparent.
Yeah.
So for 2 years in my old company, I spoke of selling this company so that I could then teach more people and impact more lives. And the only way to do that would be to create a digital business. I didn't know what it was going to be. And in the beginning, January 2016, it was sort of this experiential travel, go on hikes, I'll teach you how to get fit and ready for it. And then it took off because nobody does that. So I realized that was a niche, and I wanted to be more in the niche business, because if you Google health or fitness or lose weight, you're going to get 10 million, right?
So what makes you different?
What makes me different? And I've always believed I'm different. So what makes me different is I want to reach people on a deeper and greater level. I want to reach fathers, husbands and fathers like me who are really struggling, because I see us struggling more than any other demographic there is. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
We don't know how to handle things. We don't know how to have conversations with our wife or our kids because we're so busy trying to go to work and trying to make money that we don't stop and go, you're alive.
Here's our life, right? So what would you say the one thing you would tell people about how you've learned to be fearless? Because you have been fearless. I've watched you. I've watched you have bad days. I mean, like, it's not like you're constantly up and you know what you're doing and
No.
you're this guy that I see in front of me right now. I've seen you lose people. People have died for you this year. I've seen you, have financial strain, and you have a wife and 2 children. I mean, you've really been fearless this year. What would you say the one thing is in your gut that you can share with other people about walking through fear?
Be relentless with your purpose. If you don't have a purpose, right? Some people say, oh, I want to know my life's purpose. A purpose is a purpose, whether it's your life's purpose or it's your purpose now. But you need a purpose. And I know what my purpose is on this planet. So everything else comes and goes. But if I focus on that purpose and I do everything else outside of that purpose, my purpose is to be the greatest husband and father and coach I personally can possibly be in this world. Then whatever else comes in, whether it's a distraction or it's a person or it's unfortunately death or it's life, whatever that may be, I'm going to handle it, and then I'm going to go right back to what my purpose is, and I'm going to do it with relentless persistency, regardless of what affects me. Snowball right now across the face, boom. Wow. All right, here we go. Back to the purpose, because you're going to get knocked down. You're going to fall. You're going to trip. You're going to get hurt. You're going to have heartbreak. You're going to have emotional ups and downs. And if you're not able to consistently pursue what it is you want and do it authentically each and every single day, then you're never, ever, ever going to live your ideal life. And that's what I want more than anything in this world. In order for me to live my ideal life, I've got to start with my purpose, and my purpose is to impact every single person I see in this world, whether it's on a video camera or in real life, with my purpose, with passion, and positivity.
Well, Luke, I really appreciate you taking the time out today. And I just have to say, because you've been a client, you've been a friend, and on so many levels, I'm tremendously proud of both you and Najla for what you've been able to accomplish this year, what I've watched you walk through. And I really look forward to seeing you again on May 5th. Najla was part of the 2016 Fearless 13, so it'll be the second year the Kayyem family has shown up for a
Any other husbands and wives that you've had so far?
No, you guys are the first. So there you go.
Power couple.
Yeah, there you go. And I think that's one of the messages that you really send out there, is that you're a family man, you're a husband, and you're a father first, and then everything else comes second. In fact, everything that you do is focused on making sure that happens to the best of your ability. And I'm just really proud of you. It's a pleasure to know you, and I'm just really grateful to call you friend.
Thank you.
Have a good day.